So good morning, YouTube. My name is Endo Miller, and today on Talk and Talk, we're gonna discuss a little bit about the global trends in 2023, and we have a very interesting people here to discuss this topic. Bruna, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Bruna. I live in Brasilia. I'm married. I'm two sons. Today, this topic is for me, it's a big challenge because for me, it's difficult to talk about in Portuguese, in special to English, it's very hard.
Yeah.
But one interesting thing is when I start in TNT, my first immersions with you. It was with you. It's so nice. It was so nice. And I stopped to participate in your mission because the topic sometimes is hard for me. Oh my gosh. And today I give up many times, but I propose to stay here. And I will be here all the time. Your
Well,
makeup.
thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot. Sometimes, yeah, now, for this topic, I consider it very hard as well. So I think I will do something kind of differently. We're gonna be more soft here because I know some of this questions is quite hard to discuss, and I know that. So my intention is not, challenge you in terms of information, but challenge you talking about different things, not something very common. Thanks a lot, Bruna. Leo, your turn.
Yeah, hello guys, I'm Leo, I'm 27. I live in Rio de Janeiro. I'm married. I work with project management, and I'm here to improve my English. Also trying to study Spanish too. And it's very curious because yesterday the issue in the Spanish class it was very similar with this issue today. And so yesterday we talked a lot about GPT, and so it's so interesting this issue.
Okay, thanks a lot, Leo. Diane, how about you?
Well, nice to meet you guys. I am Diane. I'm 23 years old. I live in São Paulo, capital. I study psychology at college, and I work as an intern in the human resources area, also in a multinational company. That's why I'm here on Talk and Talk to practice my English. And I'm also trying to learn Spanish. And I don't know, in my free time, I like to read books, visit cultural places here in São Paulo. That's all.
Okay, so we are on same boat, like try to learn Spanish, because I'm trying to learn Spanish this year. It's my goal. So guys, let's get ready here. Let's start. My first question, I was checking here, but I created order. That is, what do you think about your activity? What you have done for, your job and the changes in the world. You consider that you are aligned with this kind of changes. What do you think, Leo?
Well, maybe especially in my job nowadays, I work a lot with technologies, yeah, with developing websites, developing applications and games and other things involving programming. In a certain way, I can see that I'm trying to participate, yeah, on this revolution in a certain way. I don't know how, but I can see that I'm just inside of this environment. Yeah.
Yeah, you are part of it. Like, yeah, very, very nice. And Bruna, how about you? Are you prepared?
I don't know. I think the technology increases very fast. For me, sometimes it's difficult to accompany, to follow this technology, because I work with a public service, and sometimes it's the public service, it's not fast like the mercado. So sometimes it's not follow the same time. It don't have the same time. So, but I want to read more about this, and I think it's necessary, because I want to increase in my job, and the technology is here, and it's necessary to know more.
Nice, very good, very good. How about you, Diana?
Well, in my case, it's similar to Bruna. I feel that in my area, things are becoming more technological, you know. We are seeing more and more processes that are being digitalized, you know, that we have new technologies to do things that we used to do like manually in the past, you know, or something like that. And nowadays we need to adapt very fast, but sometimes it's very challenging. Because of that, there's a lot of information. At the same time, you need to go fast, you know, to learn fast, to follow up these changes. But at the same time, I feel that we are kind of a victim of these changes. You know, I don't feel like I'm part of it. You know, I feel that the environment are changing, and us, like we that work in the human resources area, for example, we need to adapt to it to become more I don't know, more agile or something like that, you know. But I don't feel like that I'm doing this, you know. I don't know if it's because I'm not in the technologic field or something like that.
Yeah, very, very good point. I never thought about that, because I think, in some way, I think everybody needs to learn about technology and the changes, be prepared, because, I think we can't stop this kind of thing. So for example, my example in the past, I never thought about technology. So now I started to learn more, get more, inside the field and so on. I'm learning other things that I know that it's totally was a very hot topic. So, but now I see, even the human resources, social things, political things, and so on, the technology is growing a lot. So to connect it to this question, this conversation here, I would like to address to Bruna the question number 8. What will be the main social and cultural trends in 2023, in your opinion?
Well, I think about the social and cultural trends, I think the diversity and the inclusion, it's the main trend for the 2023. In Brazil, in the world, I think if the company don't change the mind about this, the diversity, the include, give up the economy, I think.
Awesome. Leo, how about you?
Yeah, maybe in addition to what Bruno said, um, well, I would say that we're going to see more and more physical events, because for me, it's look like, so the pandemic has broken, has broken a lot the our meeting and physical social events. And I believe the last year, 2022, it was better than 2021. But this year, I think we're going to see more. Yeah, we're going to, if I'm sure you're going to have Rock in Rio. Yeah, we're going to have other shows and other physical events, because in my opinion, I can feel that the society is anxious to come back, with very strength, the rhythm of the past before pandemic. And I believe it's something that are, I forgot how can I say preso, but people want to meet more, to have more contacts, and I can see that this year is gonna be a year that we're going back 100%, compared to the pandemic.
Yeah, this is so interesting because I think in the past we kind of thinking the future, it was like, oh my God, the future will be very, very good because your cell phone have everything. But now we kind of, in a prison. Oh my God, the cell phone have everything. And the same, like, oh, it's so nice to talk, from far, through technology. But nowadays the people, oh my God, I'm tired, my mental, I can't. I
Yeah,
want to see people, I want to touch, I want to talk face to face and so on.
yeah.
Very good
In my
point.
opinion, I feel exactly in this way. Yeah. I would say that for example, I'm a little tired with technology, and that's contradictory because I work with technology, but I'm tired. And the thing that I most like to do this year, for example, is to be traveling to the farm, outside the city, doing something different from just keeping wasting my time on the smartphone.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And you, Diane, what's your point on it?
It's interesting that because I was thinking about the things that you guys mentioned, and when I first read the question, I thought about something else. I was thinking about how this even this technology, in general, this technology is affecting our exchange, our cultural exchange, because I was reading something related to the kids in Portugal. I don't know if you guys have seen it, that they are being affected, their accent are being affected because of the Brazilian YouTubers, because they are watching that a lot, and because of that they are kind of losing their accent, their Portugal accent. And when I first read this question, I thought about it, how things are changing, and I think that are changing because of the technology, but changing in this bad way, because we are losing um, some customs, some not customs, some traditions that we have in some cultures because of this mixer. I don't know, this mix of things that we are having because of the globalization, because of technology, because kids are being affected by it, and probably their kids will be affected too. And we are losing some habits, that we have in some cultures, some traditions, and how this, I think that this will become more and more a concern by the governments, by the media, something that we will be discussing more and more because it's becoming so intense, but it was the first thing that I thought when I
Wow.
read.
Yeah, well, very, very, very deep. Because as I think, yeah, the society is more equal in terms of possibility, and kind of it's not good because we kind of lose our roots, and this is a problem because oh, very interesting point. And but sometimes I think at the same time I think, for example, we gave us a very good example about Brazil, how Brazil has affect the Portugal and the people there, the kids. And now I see the how can I explain, but the power of the culture, because now I always say the same. The more I study English, more I kind of become Brazilian, because I can see, in the world, that I'm Brazilian, because now I can recognize a lot of, very specific details about being Brazilian. And I think that it's kind of a cultural war. the dominance of the cultural war and the symbols and the things. So we can see the consequence of it, because Brazil, Brazil is the country that spend more time on internet. Consequently, we produce a lot of things. Consequently, we will affect a lot of people. So we can see now Korean trying to play pagode. That's the consequence of it. So it's so crazy, it's nuts, but that's the point here.
Yeah, and I'm a person who doesn't like so much to use social networks, but I installed TikTok on my smartphone to understand a movement that people are studying using short videos on TikTok. And we can see a new platform like TikTok with short videos. And I saw that now um, I can study partitura from piano using TikTok.
Very
It's so
nice.
crazy because I can study short issues, short uh, class in 30 seconds or 1 minute. Very well specific for what I'm needing, and it's a content very nice. I'm enjoying so
Very nice.
much, and I wouldn't imagine that TikTok could be a social network to provide a new way to learn, yeah, and to teach too. Because for me, TikTok was just for funny dancing, funny things, yeah, but not. We can do lots of things.
So it's
Yeah.
better TikTok because a little bit video. So it's
Mhm.
very, for your mind, it's very good. It's so very
Mm-hmm.
good because you pay attention on this moment and it's possible to learn anything.
Yeah,
I
and
think I will install.
the search,
Now I'm curious.
yeah, the search engineering, yeah, the search when you're going to search for something is very smart because you can look exactly what you need to learn. For example, I want to study pause and and what more? Pause and semitones in partituras, and so I'm going to see a lot of short videos about that. Yeah, and if I write in English, I'm going to see English videos. If I write in Spanish, I'm going to see Spanish videos. So it's so interesting.
Yeah. So the question, I think I'm thinking here, about what we are talking, and what do you think about the English, in the contest? Like, you are trying to learn English. We are here, improving our speaking skills. And in your opinion, Bruna, do you think English, has helping you with this, this issue, like to be more aware about what's going on in the world? What do you feel like, what do you feel about it?
Well, now I think the English don't help me a lot about the other subject, the other issues, for example, because I may only worry about to learning the language, for example. I think
Okay.
that's it. I use the language, for example. I want to travel, but I don't use it to understand a new to read, for example, news or listen CNN, for example, a news. It's no, I don't
Okay, I
use
got
the
it.
language for this. It's not
Yeah.
possible because you have a lot of information and study about the anything. And the first time, for example, it's very interesting. But in the moment, no, I don't use it for this.
Yeah, very good, very interesting. Yeah, because this is nice because each person have your own way to learn to use it. For example, when I start, I'm very beginner in something. The first thing that I usually do is try to connect in all that kind of thing. Like, I start to play an instrument and, oh my God, now I want to learn that specific song and so on. So this is, but it's kind of nuts, very confused my way. I don't like, but it's my way, is the way I behave naturally, so I don't care.
One thing is very interesting. For example, sometimes I need to want more about the university abroad for my
Okay.
son, for example. But when I put the site and start to read, it's very, for me, it's hard. I don't I don't know what happened, but I understand something, but I'm nervous, anxious, and I put in the traditions. Oh my gosh, I don't. It's not necessary because I know something. It's important. I practice my English. The information is clear, but I'm nervous, and I think I don't understand very well the important news, the important information for that I search. That's it. It's terrible.
Oh,
Because
oh.
it's my mind. The problem is my mind. I know.
But it's normal. It's a process that sometimes I do the same. I can tell you, very, I do exactly the same. For example, yesterday I was writing a cover letter to apply to a specific job, and I was kind of avoiding to write the cover letter because I need to research how to write a very good cover letter, to get impact, to be good, and so on, to show the quality. Well, was terrible, spent a lot of my energy, so I did it, but it was very painful for me, very painful. And I totally, I feel you. How about you, Diane?
I was thinking about this thing that Bruna said, and I have the same problem. Sometimes at work, I need to write something to someone important in English, someone that lives in a country that speaks English as a first language, and I'm always so insecure. I write everything that I need to write and send to the person, and then I put it in the Grammarly and also in the Google Translator just to check if everything's okay. So I have this problem too. I know that I have reading everything perfectly, it's very clear, but at the same time, I don't feel secure, enough to just send the message and be okay. And if I'm reading something important too, like in an article or a news or something like that, I always try to put in the Google Translator just to check if I'm understanding everything like clear, because sometimes it's something important, as you said, something related to a university or something like that. So I need to be sure that I'm understanding everything completely.
Yeah, this is hard. I do the same. We are on the same boat. I told you.
Yeah, I
How about
think
you?
I totally agree, because we are Brazilians. We are not Americans,
Yeah.
or in England. And so I believe this is part of the process. And when Endo said about, so when he needs to learn something new, he tries to change all his life. Yeah, you need to emerge
Yeah.
in the new knowledge, and depends on the uh, type of knowledge that I need to observe. I do the same, but I have some kind of difficulty to emerge. For example, changing all my cell phone to English. No, I didn't. But for me, I learn better with routines, better than, for example, writing, or having a book to write what I need to learn. No, I am so bad to write things. For example, if I am in a class, even in the university, I had so difficult to write, yeah, to have my book and with my notes. But I have more facility to learn with routines. Then, if I need to learn English, I try to have conversation class every day, or from Monday to Friday, even. Yeah. and in Spanish 2 times per week. And so now I'm needing to learn a new programming language, also twice a week, and piano 1 time per week. But for me, needs to be a kind of routine. If I don't put my commitments inside of a routine, I will have some difficult to learn. And for me, English language is the same. Yeah, it's so important to have contact every day with the language. And I'm going to look for here a podcast. I forgot the name, but it's a podcast where we can hear some news using beginner speaking language. Yeah, to easier to be easier to understand what people are talking about the news of the week globally. Yeah,
Oh,
it's so
really
interesting
nice.
to understand because it's very slow English and with very well known words, better than so open the CNN and try to understand the journalists. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good to hear that because I consider myself a very bad student because I don't have this kind of organization, when I start to learn something. So I cannot transfer my knowledge, like it's very, very hard. Sometimes the people, how did you do to learn that kind of thing? And I cannot say, exactly because I really don't know. I think, man, I just take the thing and try to do. And, I do a lot of things, committing a lot of mistakes, but it's something that I really try to improve is the organization, the process, the routine, something that I would like to have. But for me, it's hard. And and you told us about the stay in contact with the language and the thing that you are learning, and I was thinking here that in the past and even nowadays, I sometimes I need to take a rest of English, one day without any English, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. It's kind of, I will try to explain, but when you stay every single day in contact, it's very nice because you are repeating, the words and improving the conversation, so on. It's the practice. However, you start to get addicted to use the same connection in terms of sentence. So when you have this kind of day off English, you reset, you reset your mind and you start to operate in another mood. And you start to, for example, recover other vocabulary in that you have, that but you never thought because you are in a loop. It's a mental loop of using the same words. So I'm trying to do it more, but it was really interesting because nowadays, for example, yesterday I wasn't, I didn't do anything in English. Nowadays more, and it's funny because when I have this conversation, I recognize that I'm using a lot of words that I never used before. So for me, it's funny because it's kind of my brain, it's calm and relaxed, and I can, uh, create more connection in terms of words. But it's a part of my process that I'm trying to understand. I'm just sharing with you because maybe you can try and, I don't know, but it's my thing that I'm thinking for these
Maybe
days.
like muscles, no? When you work out a lot, it's necessary to relax one day because
Yeah,
the moment you muscle, um, I don't know, increases, you'll be more stronger when you stop for a moment to work out. Do you understand me?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I understand.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
Yesterday.
interesting. So interesting.
Yeah.
I've never thought
Yesterday.
about that.
Yeah. Yesterday I told with my son about this because all the time he wanted to do many things. Okay, but you need to relax because your mind needed to recuperate to do anything new, anything. That's it.
Yeah.
You all the time you put in the chat, I think in the WhatsApp about this. The process is not it's not to be difficult all the time. I need to do English today you need to
Yeah,
study.
the expectation, reduce the expectation.
Yes, and
Like do
when
mechanically the thing, like I need to do, because the people, you know, the beginning are kind of very struggling about, oh my God, I will speak English. Oh my God, oh my God, the emotion, you know, it's kind of, and no, I will do this in English for, you know, 15 minutes. So you do, okay, I did. Next day I will do again, and so on. That's one
it's so
way. It's here it's nice because we can share, you know, tips to improve the English in general. You know, I won't say that, you know, this thing is very good for everyone, but it's something that I'm thinking a lot, you know, when I have this day off. Another day that I will speak in English is totally different because, you know, the constriction, you know, the shape of the word that I can use, I can recover more words. I don't know why, but happen a lot with me. So I'm trying to read about it, but you know, just yeah, that's
and
it.
do you use any technology to learn more English and the other things? No.
Just talk and talk. You are my teacher. You are my yeah. This is, you know, I think this is the root of the talking talk, you know, because we are learning. You have learning from each other.
Yeah, but
To
for
prepare this
example,
question, to prepare the topic in the news, I need to check something. And, you know, I'm always improving because of it, because, you know, you were talking to me things that I don't know, and I can, oh my God, that's really nice. I start to improve more and more.
yeah, but for example, I have some difficult to learn grammar because here we can't learn grammar. And grammar, the throw is so it's so borrowed, yeah, to study grammar. But in the other hand, it's important. And then I'm trying to look for an application, an app to make some simulations, some exams, just to practice from
Very
beginner
good.
to intermediate and advanced grammar, and trying to growing up, yeah, along the time, starting from whatever preposition, articles, and pronouns. And so it's important, it's hard, but it's important to understand. Yeah.
Yeah, so guys, I will, you know, change a little bit the question, and let's talk about the learning process. So because we are, you know, in this kind of very warm conversation, I would like to address you, Diane. Diane, are you comfortable with your English? Like you are enjoying? Do you think, oh my God, I think you know, I'm good in, you know, what are your feelings? Not, I'm good technically, you know, meaning, but your feeling about your process, your English, and
This is a curious point for me because I feel very insecure about my English. Mostly when I'm speaking with natives, as I said, at work. It's so complicated. I don't know if you ever felt the same, but sometimes when I'm speaking with natives, the words just, you know, expired from my mind. And at the same time, I start committing a lot of basic mistakes that I know that I'm committing, but I can't change because I start to think a lot in Portuguese, and I don't know what happens. So I have this, I don't have this confidence about my English. I think that that's because I've never went abroad, you know, to study or something like that. I feel that people that already have had this experience abroad, they are more secure. I'm talking about the people that I work with. And at the same time, all that I know in English, I learned by myself, you know, because I've never had a private teacher or something like that. So I think that all of this makes this insecureness, you know. So it's complicated for me because I've never feel that I'm learning something, you know. I never feel that I'm developing my English like properly. I always feel that I'm stuck and I don't know how to speak with them when I'm talking with natives. I just know how to speak with Brazilians or something like that, you know. So it's curious, this feeling that I have, but in general,
Wow.
this is the whole feeling, you know.
Very curious, actually. Yeah, this is, it's something that I really like to ask because each person, has your own, way to feel and about your consideration about the language. Is really interesting. Thanks a lot for sharing. Bruna, how about you? Your feelings?
Well, I'm feeling maybe confidence about the language. I know that I mistake a lot things about the grammar. Oh my gosh, all the time I do the question and direct form. I don't put the do, for example, in the first word, but I know. I when I travel for abroad, for example, I'm insecure, but I don't know what happened in our mind. But when someone started to speak with you, your mind changed, and it's possible to speak. I don't know what happened, but it happened. One thing happened, and it's amazing for me because you you search something the deep da profundeza, I don't know, and it's possible to speak a little bit moment, but it's it's possible. So I think I'm confident now today, but I know that I needed to improve more my English and the other language too. And Portuguese sometimes it's necessary to improve it too. So English is more, but I think it's possible I travel abroad again and don't have worry a lot of worry about this.
Awesome. I think we will always improve the English because it's kind of something that we wanna. Because for me, I really enjoy when I see a person that talk in English but using different words, and sometimes for me it's kind of challenging. Oh my God, it's really nice. I would like to talk the same, and I try to repeat the person. It's kind of for this reason. It's very good when we are in a position with people that have actually different levels of conversation, because you can see other possibility to speak, and well, that you can also understand the pathway that you need to follow to reach that kind of level. And for example, I really a lot of hosts here that and even participants that I see, oh my God, this word's very very nice, I will use the same. How you go, Calvi? Thanks a lot for sharing, Bruno. Diane, how about you?
I already answered. I think that now is
Oh, I'm
Leo,
sorry,
right?
I'm sorry.
Leo,
Yeah.
Leo.
Sorry, because I was fighting again with my dog here. I don't know what happened. He doesn't want that I'm studying English. But well, I for me, so I really don't know how to answer, because sometimes I feel confident, especially as Diane said, when I'm talking with Brazilians. It's so different. I improved a lot my listening skills, but speaking, I think that I need to improve a lot. And I and sometimes I forgot the words. It's something that I need to improve the vocabulary. So I maybe reading more, yeah, trying to reading more to observe new words, and also to practice the English accents too. It's so important. And I would say that I know the situations and the things that I need to improve. Yeah, maybe my accent, my vocabulary, and my speaking skills. And grammar. Grammar is so important to, for example, depends on the words to talk in the past, and so remember the words in the future. And for me, uh, also I have some difficulties to work with natives, especially Americans. But for example, in my job, I need to speak almost the week with Indians, and some people say that the English of Indians it's so hard. But for me, I believe that it's easier than Americans because they speak. Okay, they have a very strong accent, but they speak slowly compared to Americans. Yeah, because sometimes Americans work so fast, and I have no difficulty to talk with them. They are programmers, and they are Indians, and I learned how to talk with them. But when I need to talk with Americans, for me it's so hard, so difficult.
You talk about the Indians. I was remembering here that when in the very beginning when I started to learn English, I I got in contact with a group of Indians that they needed to improve their speech, in business. So I just, I think, oh my God, it will be very crazy. Yeah, I will get it. I will do it. So I start to learn with that kind of person. They ask me something and I answer very basic things, but it was for me a challenge, an emotional challenge, like, to be part of that group, that Indians in English, a person, a woman, trying to help them, how to very a good speech, how to approach it was very crazy, for me, it's hard. It's not easy to listen Indians, but that moment was important because of the emotions, but not important because of English. Okay. Like the challenge to be part of, I will just stay with that kind of people there. So sometimes I do it, and I think it's very interesting to challenge yourself to feel different emotion and to control. So once you do it, you are prepared to do all. Now I know how will be and so on. Guys, we have 6 minutes. Let me see a question here about the topic, and I'm sorry to change a little bit the conversation here because I think that the purpose of this conversation is to develop this kind of natural, conversation, not to follow the topic and oh my God, I need to know more about the global trends. Because if you want to know, I can share with you a lot of different content. But well, I was reading a lot about the chat GPT. Let's talk about, do you know, Bruno, what does that mean?
Yes, I know. The last
And
weekend,
what do you think?
I think it's so good, but I don't know what the employees do because it's a good opportunity. I don't know it's the correct form, no, but it's probably the I don't know desemprego. It can be it's turning a lot of increase. I think because it's possible, for example, change the legal analyze. For example, I work with this. Sometimes it's possible to analyze the process, legal process. For example, with Chat GPT. No, I think that I read it's possible too because have the artificial intelligence. It's very hard.
Okay.
I think it's so good.
And
The
are you
future
afraid?
is this.
And Bruna, are you afraid of this technology?
Yes, maybe. I think maybe my employee, my job, it's a risk with this. Yes,
All
because
jobs denied.
I work with a public service, and now maybe it's a expensive technology, maybe, but in the future, I think it's it's anyone to use this. So I think the technology come to help us a lot. So in special if I don't need it for many employees. So I subscribe for the technology, no. And I afraid because I work with administration, and it's one thing that it's possible to change.
It's true, it's true. Thanks a lot, Bruna. Daiane, how about you?
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
So, Leo, can you explain a little bit your work with the
Yeah, I would say that I'm using ChatGPT almost every day since the launching. It's a artificial intelligence chat that you can interact with the chatbot, asking almost everything. Yeah, and you ask almost everything, and the chatbot will answer you. For example, how I would say an example. How can I build a game jogo da velha using JavaScript language? And then the chatbot will answer you all the codes of programming to implement the game. So you can ask a lot of things. You can, so how can I do these mathematical counts, very complex, and you put the name of the formula, and so the chat will help you to solve the problem. And so you can ask a lot of things. You can test. For example, I want to build a deployment to my wife, and I did that. Okay, I did this
Oh my
test.
God.
I
Man,
did.
we live on YouTube.
Yeah,
You
she knows. She knows. I told her. I asked to ChatGPT. I want to build a deployment to my wife, talking about our history since the dates that we meet for the first time, and I talked about the dates, November of 2011, and so all some passing for some challenge that we faced, and I mentioned some challenge, and in the final, our marriage party and our honeymoon in Foz do Iguaçu. So I put all the inputs to ChatGPT, and I received a complete deployment. Yeah, talking about all the histories that I asked to him, and I received a very complete. You can build music using ChatGPT. It's so crazy.
Very interesting.
But for example, in my fields, I use the ChatGPT to correct some codes. If I have when I have a bug, I ask for ChatGPT to correct the bug. But sometimes I can see that if I have a problem, and I asked for someone from my team who doesn't have worked with this before, so ChatGPT will not help this person, because you need to ask for the right way. You need to have a critical thinking about what you need to ask.
know how to create the questions, how to ask.
Yeah, how to ask. And for example, we had a challenge using logic in a problem that we have yesterday, and so this guy had a problem to ask ChatGPT, because it was something new for him, and the artificial intelligence will not help him because this guy doesn't know how to ask for help. Yeah, and that's why I believe artificial intelligence wants replace all the positions, because some positions you need to have experience, you need to have the critical thinking, about what you need to solve. Yeah. And when you try to ask exactly what your needs, then artificial intelligence will help you.
But more interesting, it's that you use this without internet. It's more interesting for me because it's not
My
necessary
God,
you use
I didn't
internet
know
for
about that.
to use the chat GPT. That I read when I read
Yeah.
is it. I
That's
don't know
new
if
for
it's true.
me. I've never
Yeah.
tested without internet, but could be. I don't know.
Yes.
So
Diane, have you watched that movie, Her?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
The
totally
same.
similar, but yeah, won't talking yet, but it's similar. It's kind of
Very interesting.
artificial intelligence that start to interact more in a fluid way. Flowing the information you can get in contact. For example, I can ask, I would like 10 questions about the global trends in 2023, and they start to, oh, the global trends in 2023 will be this, and that,
Very interesting.
according to the economists, according the entrepreneur, according the, I don't know. So this is really crazy.
It's
Really
like
crazy.
yeah,
it's like an advanced Alexa.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Some people say that Alexa, the next step is using artificial intelligence with voice, because ChatGPT is just text. Yeah. And the next
Yeah.
step will be voice. So crazy.
Guys, thanks a lot for this conversation. Okay, was really awesome. And I'm sorry because I changed a lot the conversation, but it was really, for me insightful because I like to see when the conversation flowing in a very natural way. Pretty much means that we are confident in English and so on, creating novel news possibilities, and interacting more. Guys, I share with you the forms, okay? So helping me to improve this
It
conversation
doesn't
and
work, Elden.
the form.
Yes.
Let
Last
me let me
last
try.
week we were facing the same problem with some
Yeah.
links.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
yesterday too.
So
In this
yeah,
in the Spanish class, we have the same problem.
so I need to see what happened, but that's okay, guys. Thanks a lot for this
It's great.
conversation, and I have a great week, and I see you in the next. Okay.
All right.
The
Okay.
next meeting, we're gonna talking about leadership. That will be more easy than this kind of question about global trends and so on. Okay.
All right. Thank